All right. Just to be mindful for everyone's time, we'll go ahead and get started, and we will continue to admit students, attendees as they come on in. But I want to say welcome, everyone. I know it's a busy time of year for you all, starting, wrapping up with finals, or for those of you who are going to be joining us in the fall. So I do want to be mindful of everyone's time, but say thank you. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Erica Xavier from our Financial Aid and Scholarships um, department here on campus, who will be driving this presentation and fielding some of your questions for today. So I know she has built in some time for Q&A at the end, but I will go ahead and just hand it over to her. And if there's any questions in the chat, I'll be able to go ahead and manage that as well. All right. So here you go. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for having me. My name is Erica Xavier. I'm Assistant Director in the Financial Aid Office, and I'm here to talk to you about graduate student resources and financial aid. Okay, so we're just going to go over a couple general information stuff, applications, resources, some of the stuff that you have to decide, and then financial aid policies that you need to be aware of. So we're going to first start with the financial aid application. We have two different routes of applying for financial aid. One is specific for students who are DREAM eligible or AB 540. And then also we have the application that is for federal student aid, and that would be US citizens or eligible non-citizens. If you have questions about which one you should apply for, please feel free to reach out to us and we can help you navigate that decision. So really the financial aid process, the first thing you want to do is submit your application. That is the one thing that tells us that you're interested in financial aid, and it starts you on the financial aid process. You want to make sure that after you submit that application, if we request any information from you, we want to make sure that you are submitting that timely, making sure that you're meeting any deadlines that we give you. And if you're meeting your deadlines, then we'll be able to process your aid faster. Okay, I know that resources was a very hot topic on the registration form, so we want to make sure to touch on resources that we have for you. Um, the, t the typical different types of financial aid programs are going to be grants, scholarships, and loans. Depending on the program that you're in, depends on your financial aid eligibility. So grants are typically designated for undergraduate students, but there's also resources for students that are in a teaching credential program. And then there's state university grant for students who are stateside and not going through an EL program. There's also different specific grants through the different programs. For example, like the MBA program has a grant that's specific to their program. The next topic would be like scholarships. There's private scholarships that you would get from an outside agency, and then there's CSUSM specific scholarships. Loans for graduate students there's federal loans, and there's the Dream loan for our California Dream application students. So typically as graduate students, you're going to be offered the federal student loans for FAFSA application. The unsubsidized loan does accrue interest upon disbursement. The interest rates and amounts are fixed by the federal government. So they determine how much you can borrow and they determine what the interest rates are. The interest will accrue upon disbursement, and you are not required to make payments, but you're welcome to. And payments will begin 6 months after you either graduate or drop to less than half-time status. The Dream application student loan is $4,000 maximum annually. It's fixed at the same amount as the federal student loans. Graduate plus loans for FAFSA filers, that is credit contingent. The unsubsidized loan is guaranteed. So kind of two different avenues and resources for FAFSA filers. External loans, or as we refer to as private alternative student loans, that would be through your private lender, so your bank or other specific federal student, or not federal, private alternative student loans. You would apply directly with them, meeting their eligibility criteria. They would send us the certification information. We would certify that you're a student with us, and we would process that for you. We generally recommend that you utilize your federal student loans before you take a look at those alternative loans. But ultimately it's up to you. And we would just recommend that you borrow responsibly and you look at the terms of those alternative student loans because they typically end up being different than federal student loans. So, like I was saying before, there are program specific scholarships, fellowships, teaching associates, graduate assistants, tuition fee waivers. You would want to take a look and check in with your specific college, your specific graduate program, and see if those are available. They are coordinated typically through our office, but we are not typically the ones that select the students. So you would want to start with your program first. Like I mentioned before, College of Business Administration has specific funding programs for MBA students. There's the professional fee grant, tuition grants, scholarships, and again, check with your college and we will coordinate that for you. General scholarship. So our CSUSM has scholarships that are open to all students. Our scholarship application aligns with the general admission application. We open the scholarship in October and we generally close it the beginning of February. So you want to make sure that you apply for that in the fall, and students can be notified all the way through summer or even if additional funding becomes available throughout the year, but typically most are selected during the summer. If you're selected, you'll be emailed to notify you, but we do not notify students that are not selected. Some strategies for scholarships outside. We have some scholarship search engines listed on our CSUSM financial aid website. Some of those are such as like FastWeb, the San Diego Foundation. We have both search engines and a couple local foundations. Um, the outside scholarships are really the criteria is, it's up to them. They select it. So one of the strategies that I would recommend is take a look at what are they looking for? Is there a prompt for a written statement? Make sure you're answering and addressing the questions that they're asking or the core criteria of what the scholarship is. So just some tips. Uh, You want to take advantage of the scholarship databases, like I said, FastWeb, scholarships.com, U.S. Department of Labor's free scholarship search tool. These websites can help you find scholarships that match your background, interests, educational plans. Um, you want to explore community organizations such as like San Diego Foundation. And you can check with like entities that like the Rotary Club, Chamber of Commerce. If you are a member of a religious institution, check in with all those organizations because you never know if they have scholarships available. So this payment plans are more of a student financial services service. We are financial aid, so we give the money, and student financial services are the ones that take the money and apply it to your student account. So this would be a tip for your personal finances. We do have payment plans, and you can pick a plan that is best aligned with what your plan is, your educational plan. When you log into your My CSUSM account and you go to your student center, there is what's called a college financing plan. This is This is designed to help you take a look at what your estimated costs of attending are, what financial aid has been offered to you, and taking a look at what your basically your underlying costs are going to be. It's looking at your awards for the year, tuition, fees, housing, if you're planning on living on campus, or if you're planning on estimating rent or mortgage even. And then other educational expenses like books, supplies, personal expenses, transportation, just all things that you need to consider because college is more than just tuition and fees. It is also about supporting yourself through the academic year. So I want to talk a little bit about some financial aid policies because there's a lot of things that you should be aware of as you're a student because you basically have to keep up your end of the deal per se. So we award our students based on basically estimating you as a full-time student. So if and when your educational plans have changed, it could impact your financial aid. So to start on one of them, satisfactory academic progress, that is making sure that you're on your way to degree completion. So for graduate students, we have a minimum grade point average of 3.0. The PACE completion, you must complete at least 50% of your attempted units and you must complete your program within 200% of its published length. So, for example, if the published length of your program is 2 years, you must complete it within 200% of that. So you have a long time to complete it, but we want to make sure that you're keeping on track and tracking towards degree completion. If you begin a program and your financial aid is dispersed and you for whatever reason are required to withdraw from your classes, uh, your aid may have to be reduced. We are required by federal law to determine how much aid you have earned based on how long you have been attending. So, if and when you need to decide, and take into consideration withdrawing from the semester, please be sure to speak with us so we can take a look at what your aid is and how it could impact you. Here is our contact information. We are available by phone, email, and we are happy to meet with you virtually. We've found that our students really like to connect that way. It's easy and you can speak with us directly. And now I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. You are welcome to unmute or type it in the chat, but I'm here to help you answer your questions. Quiet group today. Oliver,
Oh, go ahead.
Hello.
hi.
Okay, so my question is, so the only way to get help financially is through scholarships if you're a graduate student and loans, correct?
Typically, depending on the program that you're doing, there may be grants available. Um, but most grants, like the federal grants, are designated for undergraduate programs. So, what program are you looking at?
Oh, I'm doing my MA in Spanish.
Okay. Yeah, so you might be eligible for a state university grant, but the majority of your financial aid package is going to be offered loans.
Yeah, I mean, right now that you're saying I might be eligible for it, So my FAFSA was disputed, like I just received it,
Mhm.
and I should see loans on the 2026 um section.
Yeah, so
So
once we award you, we're going to email you to let you know, and then you're going to log into your My CSUSM account, go to your Student Center tab, and then click on Financial Aid, and it's going to take you to see the aid that you're available for.
yeah,
Have you received that?
yeah, I did. It's
Okay.
just loans, yeah, two loans.
Yeah.
Well, four in total, like each semester. Yeah.
Semester, yeah.
But like for that grant that you said that I might be, do I need to contact financial aid or
It's automatic. So right now, it's when we award our grants, we have to make sure that we're meeting not only the CSU policy, but also our institutional policy. So we would offer it to you. Like you don't have to contact us to ask if you're eligible for a grant. If you're eligible, we're going to offer it to you. And we're going to let you know by email that your aid has changed, and then you'd log into your student center to go see that. So right now, if you were not offered a grant right away, then you may not be eligible, your program may not be eligible, or it's just pending funding availability. You're welcome to make an appointment with us, and we can take a look at what your eligibility is. I'm sure you don't want to do that in front of everyone.
oh no, yeah. Yeah, it's because so that has happened before when
Mhm.
they just give me like just a percentage and then I go to the office and they're like, "Oh, you're eligible for this grant," but they never notify me till I went to see them, like so.
Yeah, make an appointment with us either by going to the office or emailing us or make a virtual appointment and we'll take a look at what's going on. But a lot of times it's funding availability. So we're totally willing to look it up for you and look at your specific situation. Um, but we'll definitely need your information to look that up. Like it's hard to say like just generally speaking, because there's no magic number in financial aid and the eligibility is contingent upon a lot of different things. So you definitely want someone to look at your account so you get correct information?
Okay. Okay. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Make an appointment and we'll connect with you and get your questions answered more with more detail.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so I have a question about forgivable loans. Um, So, yes, there are potentially forgivable loans. You'd want to, I guess the question would be are you looking for like using your federal student loans and then working in like a disadvantaged area and then going through the federal loan forgiveness program, or are you going through a teaching program and looking at maybe like the Golden State stuff or teach grant. It just depends on what program you're doing and what avenue you would like to move through. And then I have another question about scholarships. Scholarships depend on what the scholarship is. So for our CSUSM scholarships, we 6 units at a graduate student is actually full time. So if a graduate master student is enrolled in 6 units, that is full-time status. So most scholarships are looking at least half-time status. Some require full-time status. It depends on what scholarship it is. And then if you're looking or asking about private scholarships, so ones that come from outside agencies and are sent to us here, it depends on what their criteria is. So that just depends.
Hi,
Okay.
Erica.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Were you answering my question?
That was a different student.
Okay.
But do you have something like similar?
No, I typed in the chat and I didn't know where you were with which question.
Oh, I have some direct messages, so
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah. So I was just kind of going from the top there.
Oh, I see.
Let me look through yours. Okay, so noticed a lot of scholarships. So I don't know specifically scholarships that are specific for certain programs, such as like Masters in Public Health. If you go through our website and you use the scholarship engines that are listed on our website, they're vetted. And if you stick to those, it shouldn't be a scam. Um, However, like if you go to like Google and you just search for that, that's where you might end up finding scams. Like one of the things that we would recommend is if someone is asking you to pay to apply for scholarships, that's probably a scam. You shouldn't ever have to pay to apply for scholarships.
Yeah. It's just this is great information, but when you look for like the masters, like a lot of I was told that when I did call financial aid, I was told that most of the scholarships are for undergrad. There's not really any help for master's program. So maybe I'll make an appointment with you and you can like maybe physically show me, but I have not found anything for financial aid for a master's program, even on your site. And I missed that window
Yeah.
in October. So if you can show me, that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead and make an appointment and we can
Okay.
actually yeah, make an appointment and we can just kind of navigate that. But again, like most grant and scholarship programs are designated for undergraduate students. Um, I don't have anything to say about that other than that's just kind of what it is,
Okay.
unfortunately. But, I mean, I would probably use like the fast web search and scholarships.com search and look and see if there's something specific to your program, you know?
Yeah, there's nothing. I
Oh, I'm
but
sorry.
thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, so all right, I had a question about the year of taxes that FAFSA is based off of, and that's actually a really good question. So FAFSA is using prior year. So we're basically using 2 years behind what you actually are. And it's a great question because what if your previous financial circumstances are different than what you are now? I know a lot of students will maybe reduce their work hours or stop working altogether while they're doing an educational program. So if that is the case, we can absolutely take that into consideration, and you'll want to make sure to reach out and ask for a change of circumstance form. You can do that in the form section of our website, or you can call us, email us, make a virtual appointment, and we can request that from you directly. But basically, we want to make sure that your current situation is a reflection of your financial aid eligibility. So if something has changed, please ask us if it makes an impact. Now, again, it may or may not, just because financial aid is very limited to our graduate student population, and it's not necessarily us, it's also federal law, federal regulations as to what we can offer you as well. Um, okay, so that was public health. Okay, so there's a question about help or support for multiple family members in college. Um, the FAFSA actually doesn't really take that into consideration. So really what you're going to want to look at is, is the multiple people in college impacting your financial circumstance? And then if it's in part impacting your financial circumstance, like reduced work hours or loss of income or something like that, we can definitely take that into consideration and take a look at your change of circumstances. The financial aid contact, I have a question about who the financial aid contact for the MBA program is. And that is Hector Mercado in our financial aid office. And I can get that for you. Actually, if you just send it to our general financial aid email, finade@csusm.edu, which is listed on the screen, it can get directed to our MBA contact from there. Um, Financial aid appointments, if you scan this QR code or if you go to csusm.edu/finade, there is a link to make an appointment. Okay, so work study programs. Yes, we do have work study. However, our allocation is not large just because we are a newer institution and the federal government does impact and determine those funding allocations. So just to be completely transparent, we have enough money to offer about 100 awards on campus. So if you are looking for a work study program, you'd want to secure a job and then contact financial aid to see if you qualify for work study. With that said, not all on-campus positions require work study, so you are absolutely welcome to secure a position on campus, and you may or may not even need work study eligibility. Okay, I think I have answered all the questions in the chat. Please feel free to continue asking questions or unmute or raise your hand. I want to make sure that we get all your questions answered here. But even if you have a question later, like I said, you can contact us and we will absolutely get back to you with those answers.
Okay, we will be sharing the PowerPoint that Erica has provided us today. She also shared with me earlier some links that we'll also send to you all in regards to scholarships, support services, as well as aid for undocumented students. I think that's super helpful. Thank you so much, Erica. We do encourage you, as she has shared, to perhaps contact financial aid for specific appointments. I know everyone's aid can be very nuanced, so it might be helpful for you to contact them directly. Looks like one more question just popped in. What is the timeline in finding out financial aid packages? Someone just submitted their FAFSA yesterday, was wondering how long it takes to get processed.
Okay, good question. So generally speaking, it'll probably take about a week. Usually we say anywhere between 5 and 10 days for us to receive your FAFSA, depending on when it's submitted. We have just started packaging or processing awards for our graduate students like in the last few days. So you should have it within about 2 weeks would be my guess. Your financial aid award from today. 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, give or take a couple days.
Any other last minute questions? Okay, thank you again for joining us today. We will be emailing you some of these resources as well as a PowerPoint. And please, we do encourage you to reach out to our team. They are awesome and really can look into your individual files as it relates to your program. So thanks so much for attending, and we hope you have a really successful rest of the spring semester.